Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are safe, you are well, and you are with someone you care about who also cares for you. Also, Happy New Year. It is 2026. Congratulations. We got through 2025. Let's make 2026 better. And the bar's not very high for that particular success criteria. So, 2026. How are we going to make it better? What's going to change in 2026? So, last week's Sunday Musing was a very much a downer. We talked about the enshittification of the auto industry, it's how it's felt, and automakers letting people down and vehicles getting cancelled. So what are we going to see in 2026? Well, I'm going to start with something I'm very hopeful for, and that is that Aptera will actually deliver its first vehicles to customers. Now, delivering its first vehicles to customers and making mass-produced EVs are very different things. We've had so many car companies over the last 20 years that I've been covering the industry that have made limited numbers of vehicles and then gone out of business. Coda is a good example. Fisker. I could go on, I'm not going to. But those are just two examples of car companies that actually brought vehicles to market, but ultimately didn't survive. And I'm worried the same will happen to Aptera because it's a small company and it's facing insurmountable odds at a point in history where EVs are the bad thing that the government is trying to shut down, at least in the US, but also in other parts of the world as well. I hope that 2026 sees a backlash against the backlash. And obviously in the US, we have midterm elections in November. So hopefully that is going to make this year better than last year. Hopefully we're going to see more of a backlash against what's going on in the US. Obviously, I'm filming this 2 weeks before it goes out, nearly 3 weeks. So, maybe Donald Trump's declared war against Venezuela by that point. I expect he will have done because that's the... yeah. Anyway, that might change things. But, I mean, if you think about it, last year, Donald Trump did go after Venezuela, did go after oil tankers and all of that stuff. And it was done under the premise of national security and all of that stuff. But really, it was about oil. It was about oil and it was about keeping everybody using fossil fuels. And I hope that 2026 is the year that we go, actually, no. Here at the channel, we're going to encourage people to not buy new cars. We're going to encourage people to keep the EVs that they have if they have an EV and to buy used EVs if they do not. Because we need to stop this consumption that we have. And automakers, if we keep buying new cars or we keep buying new vehicles and not buying EVs because automakers have stopped making them, Ford, then we're just sending the message that, oh, you did the right thing. And I know that that's not the case. I know that the decisions that are being made right now are being made for political reasons, not for the future wellness of everybody on this small pale blue dot. And so I'm hoping that this year is a year when we actually realise that, where we actually encourage people to do less consumption and more restoration and more consolidation of skills and knowledge and backlash against the authoritarian bent that we're seeing around the world right now. And that starts with us, doesn't it? And on this channel this year, we're really going to try and focus very hard on DIY, on making sure that our vehicles can keep running. So we're going to be making a video replacing the ballasts and the headlights on my wife's Bolt. Kate's going to be doing some videos talking about Rebecca, her Morris Minor, and converting it to electric. We're going to be putting a tow hitch on a Chevy Bolt belonging to Vi, our DP. We're going to be doing projects with the F-150 Lightning. I have a plan to put fog lights on the F-150 Lightning because we live up in the mountains and we get a lot of fog. I don't care that they're not legally required here, I'm going to put them on my truck. I'm going to do some other modifications as well. And so it's about making our vehicles that we have applicable to the uses that we want to use them for, and moulding our world around open source and right to repair. And that is my hope for this year. I think we're also going to see progress in the Chinese-European thing. So last year we saw a lot of back and forth about automakers being upset about price gouging, about the fact that Chinese, not price gouging, price discounts, about the fact that automakers in China were being unfairly subsidized by the Chinese government and therefore offering EVs for sale in Europe at ridiculously low prices, which is great for consumers. But there was talk of tariffs, and we left 2025 with the EU and China going, yeah, we're going to start talking about that. We're going to agree on minimum prices. That's not free market. That's definitely not pro-consumer, but it's better than restricting vehicles. And so I think we're going to see more Chinese automakers enter into the market. And of course, what we're going to see, and I think is what's going to really kick off this year, is, I said next year because I'm filming this in 2025, but this year, 2026, I have to remember, I'm in 2026 now. Time travel Nikki. I think what we're going to see this year is that we're going to see the automakers from China who were subject to all of those tariffs, who turned around as soon as those tariffs were threatened and went, fine, we'll just build in Europe. We've got scads of money, building cars in Europe. And then if they're building them in Europe, they can sell them for ridiculously low prices if they want to. If there's a way around it, they will figure it out. And so I'm hopeful that this year is the year that we see EVs in China become EVs in Europe. And prices that we see in China become prices that we see in Europe. And I think this year is going to be the year that that will happen, because you've got several factories that are now really ready to start producing EVs. And as soon as those EVs hit the roads, they're going to be using LFP battery packs. They're going to be using the latest in technology. And I think that's going to be really transformative for the marketplace. I also hope that 2026 is the year where Ford and GM and Dodge and Ram and everybody else goes, oh crap, we made a mistake. In 2025, we saw a lot of automakers roll back plans for EVs under the guise of, well, we'll never make money on them, which is a thing we've heard so many times before. But I think this year is the year those automakers are going to go, oh, crap. The Ford F-150 Lightning Owners Forum had a post up recently, a poll, asking existing owners what they thought about the change from the F-150 Lightning EV to the F-150 Lightning range extended EV. And something like 68 to 70% of respondents are like, yeah, I'm not going to buy it. Why would I go backwards? I'm happy with my EV. I'm going to keep my EV. I'm going to run my EV into the ground. So long, Ford, you suck. And I hope this is the year that those automakers get their comeuppance, because obviously in the US and also in Europe, we do have some elections coming up. And I hope that the authoritarian bent that we've seen in the last couple of years gets reversed, and we see much more sensible policies come into play that actually go, yeah, we do need to make more EVs. This is a thing that we need to focus on. Maybe I'm pipe dreaming here, but I hope that's what we're going to see. Also, for 2026, please, can we have the alternative, or not the alternative, can we have the equivalent of what we've seen in microprocessors, but in energy and EVs. So if you are into home automation or anything like that, you'll know about ESP32 chips and how transformative they've been. Little tiny microprocessors that can, store enough code to run basic functions that are used for everything from smart home devices through to little hobby projects. I would love to see something like that happen this year, but for energy storage and for energy democratization, because I think if we can do that, we don't need big companies with big paychecks for their CEOs. We can do it ourselves, and what's more, we can fix our own stuff when it breaks. That's my big hope for this year. What's your hope? Leave it in the down below. I hope that your new year was a good one. If you're going back to work in a few days, be kind. Don't jump in at the deep end. Ramp slowly back in. And I hope that this year is a good one for you and everyone who's important to you. Thanks for watching today. You can connect with us on Patreon, Discord, Mastodon, Blue Sky, or through our website. Massive thanks to the amazing folks scrolling by right now. You are the reason we can stay independent and keep making content without corporate influence. Want to see your name listed here too? Support starts at just $1.50 a month, and you can now even gift memberships. And of course, a massive welcome to our newest members: Adam B, Andrew Brown, Tiara Graves, Philip Jackson, Dieter Mulhop, Noor Naif, Annie Onimus, Todd Plenis, Barus Sharati, Andrei Starsky, Ralph Stultz, Richard Teague, Triple A He They, Lisa Vargi, Vicky Morales, Magpie Motors, and Travis Whitman. Thank you for joining up to support the channel. At this particular time in history when everyone's feeling the pinch, we are so grateful that you've joined the team, and that allows us to keep making great content. If you'd like to join them, you'll find our Patreon link below, or you can sign up via YouTube. If you're signing up for Patreon though, please go to the Patreon website. Do not use the Apple or Google app, since both take a big cut that hurts your wallet and reduces the income we receive. Prefer a one-off contribution? We've got Ko-fi, Bitcoin, a PO box, our swag store, and even an Amazon affiliate link, all great ways to make sure your money helps us. We post new videos every few days on the main channel, plus extras over on TE Take 2. And since YouTube comments, while open, aren't safe for us, the best way to chat with the team is through Patreon, Mastodon, Blue Sky, or our website, or in fact, our Discord chat. If you want more, the mighty algorithm thinks you'll like this video, but we'd love you to check out this one instead. Be awesome, be kind, be intentional, and never forget to resist. Keep evolving.